Hello everyone and welcome to Recruiting Trends here in Florida on our last day of the event, and I'm super excited to share some time with you and to share some time with another great friend of mine. I seem to have a lot of them. Joanna Clark, who's here from Wells Fargo, who has also been presenting at the conference, and she has got some great stories to tell. Joanna, it's great to see you. Of course, we're on the opposite coast because we're both native to San Diego. Florida isn't so bad, is it?
Not too bad. The weather's actually quite nice this time of year.
And I think both of us are adjusting to the humidity as best we can.
Barely, but yes.
It's totally a difference. Well, I'm excited about your presentation, and
Yes.
I understand the title of the presentation is Are You My Candidate?
Yes.
So tell me, was that based on the Are You My Mother book?
It is. And the second question that everybody's asking is the snort in my presentation. And the answer is yes.
Of course it is.
And
Of
you'll have
course
to read
it
the
is.
book if you don't know what that is. But nonetheless, yes, my presentation was all about the fact that our recruiters oftentimes are so bogged down with things like capacity and what tools to use that they're just kind of walking around going, are you my candidate? Are you my candidate? Are you my candidate? Just like that little baby bird.
Yeah.
And so the premise of my presentation was really to stop things from moving and creating a blueprint or a search strategy. And then when you move into the search, really focusing on tools that are in alignment with the jobs that you're searching for. Not all tools work for every company, and I wanted to kind of talk about that from an overarching standpoint, not in the let's talk about all the different tools, because those are great talks. You do some of those great talks, but that's just not my space. I like to talk about the recruiters because that's really what I like to work with.
Well, then I also often see organizations talk about, again, it's a triad, right? The process, the technology, and the people.
Yeah.
And no one is greater than the other. So it's great to see that you're really focused on how the resources are delivering the work, and even tied to the process piece. I had a vision in my head as you were talking about the recruiters and that map of how often do we ever get in the car and just start driving aimlessly and not know where we're going. We usually plan out or at least have a GPS.
That's right.
And it sounds like you're really kind of creating that path to what are the tools, what are the process, how do we get those things done?
Absolutely. And I think that the other thing that I wanted to really make sure that we talked about was that, I think oftentimes things like creating strategies and things like that are thought to be something that the employment brand person does, or something that the recruiting manager job is the recruiting manager's job. But really, it's everybody that touches the candidate has to be a part of that process. I even talked about one of the part of the blueprint part of the process is talking with your C-suite and having them understand and really articulate who they are as a company. And I talked about the fact that culture is not aspirational, it's actual. And
That's
so
an excellent point.
It's important that our recruiters talk about the culture of the company like it is, not like we want it to be. And so it was a fun discussion.
Right. One, I would think candidates, they'll know instantaneously. The new hires know if I've been told one thing and then I've been delivered something else. It's an experience problem, and then we have a retention problem. And it sounds like you're solving for it all the way at the beginning. If we're truthful and authentic about what we're trying to explain to them,
and carry that
through the process. So tell me more. What else are you guys doing from a candidate experience perspective?
Well, the other thing that I spent some time talking about is trying to reach recruitment nirvana, I called it. I did have a picture of Kurt Cobain in my presentation.
Of course you did.
But what I really think recruiting nirvana is when we come to that critical area of attraction, that when the vision and the team and culture fit comes together with success measures, and when all that comes together and you find that job and that person that fits in that sweet spot, that's when people stay. That's when they found their real spot. And that's what I have passion about, is really helping people to find their sweet spot for their careers, whether it's a recruiter or whether it's the jobs that we're filling.
That's excellent. That's excellent. And I also My role as a recruiter way back when we were 12,
of
right?
course.
That's when
Or
we started
sooner.
as recruiting, maybe 6. But that was one of the things that really kept me going. That was my caffeine.
Yeah.
Was seeing that candidate in that right position, in that right job, and the company thriving because all of those pieces came together. And
Yeah.
how can I go find more caffeine just like that? So that's an excellent analogy. So I'm going to ask you, because I always do, and I always know you're thinking ahead. What are you looking forward to in the next year or two? What are you really focused on from a candidate experience? Aspirational or actionable?
Yeah. I think what I'm really focused on going into 2018, for example, is recruiter education. I think that with everything that's going on in the industry, and things like efficiency, where companies are really trying to put as many requisitions on the desks of recruiters as possible, it's really important that we explain to recruiters how to properly educate themselves. How do they come out to events like this? There are a few recruiters that come to these kinds of things. There's a lot of recruiting managers and a lot of leaders, but how many recruiters are coming out to expand their knowledge and giving themselves the opportunity by blocking time on their schedule for education, things like that. I'm really passionate about turning the industry to really go inward and think about how we allow our recruiters to do more of that.
That is an excellent mission, and I'm going to support you in that however you need me to. Joanna, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the fact, and again, thank you everybody for listening in. Looking forward to seeing you at our next conference, and this is a great place to learn everything you need to know about recruiting.